All right, guys, so I got some new stuff from MaXpeedingRods. Yes, these are the eBay coilovers. These guys actually hit me up and said, hey, would you like to try out a set of our coilovers? It was perfect timing because I just got this car for free. Actually, I think it was before it. The guy was like, hey, do you want this E36? And I'm like, yeah. Oh, actually. And these guys were hitting me up and I'm like, well, shit, that would be perfect timing to do that. As the suspension on this car is extremely shot. Like that's no good. So these will definitely be an upgrade. They are very inexpensive, and I actually have a code for you guys too, so I'll link that down below in the description here. But let's do a quick unboxing of these bad boys. So we got the front struts, and I'll just kind of give you my impressions on these. Pretty heavy, actually. When you first look at them, they look to be the same as most other, Chinese style coilovers. They are adjustable as far as I know. Yeah, they are adjustable, so they do have, the different positions for clicks on the damping. They're an 8 kilogram spring in the front. They do look to be like a little bit of a fatter spring than a normal coilover would have. The shaft of the shock is pretty thick there. Decent collars and that sort of thing. The grade of the hardware, I don't know, that could be a little bit better in my opinion. This is where I've heard that it's not the best, is right here. This is where it connects. I've heard that some people have issues with this ripping because the metal's not super thick, but that's on drift cars, and then they'll just weld in a little washer right here. But that is what it is. For the price, they look all right. They're definitely going to be better than the stock suspension on the car there. Now, for the rear, it does come with the rear shocks here. Whoops. These look to be, just, like your normal real shock. Now, I do feel like that should spring all the way back up, and that should be a little bit harder. I don't know. Maybe it'll get better with time. Who knows? I can adjust the clickage here. I don't know. We'll see. It does have a little bit of resistance. It does go back up with the spring. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how these work out. For the rear springs, I'm not 100% sure if I'm actually going to put the rear springs on the car, just because this is a convertible and it weighs a little bit more, and I don't know if I want the car honestly any more slammed than it already is. Like, it's actually kind of low as it is already, so I may just do the shock in the back and not do the actual spring. I don't know. We'll kind of see how it looks. But the front, nice thing about this is it is adjustable here, which means you don't have to compress the spring, so you can get the proper preload on it and all that, and you can actually adjust the height here. So we'll go ahead and throw these things on. I know it'll be a huge upgrade for the car, and thanks to MaXpeedingRods for sending these things out. It's definitely going to be a good upgrade. This thing for right now, it's just getting cleaned up, turning into a good daily, and then we'll see where it goes from there, because I got the interior pretty dang good. About to put a steering wheel on the thing. I really got it cleaned up. I need to glue this down. That's a common issue there, the glove box situation. Oh, and I need to fix the window regulators. But all in all, the car is looking pretty damn good. So let's get it jacked up, and I will show you guys how to do the front strut installation for the coilovers. Pretty dang easy. We'll dump some camber into the thing too. That way it handles a little better. So first thing I'm gonna do, pop the hood, take the strut loose on the top here. Oh yeah, by the way, got the engine bay all cleaned up on this. If you guys haven't watched that, huge difference before I detailed this thing. It's looking pretty damn good, I would say. You wouldn't believe what this thing looked like when I first got it. It was pretty damn gross, hence why it was free, but it's amazing what you can do with a little bit of hard work. So I'll go ahead and bust the strut loose up top. 3 13mm nuts. And now, see if, yep, that's loose up there, perfect. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and take the tire off. Now I can't remember, I think this right here might be a wheel lock for these beautiful wheels. That's a joke, but I do think that is a wheel lock. So go ahead and bust these loose with my 17 and get the wheel off. Now, what's cool, and I wasn't sure what this was for, but it has provisions for the ABS. So you see this little tab right here. We'll go ahead and like pull that tab off, but the strut, the new one, actually came with that same situation, so we'll be able to reuse that. That's pretty nice. I'm actually surprised by that. I do think there is a right hand side and a left hand side, I'm pretty sure, so we'll kind of have to just figure that out with the look of the strut, if you will, as far as where the bracketry is. But these things should come off pretty dang easily. This is really the first look I've had at the suspension components in here. Yeah, not too shabby. So we got to get these bolts off here, and here, and then this guy here, and that's pretty much it, actually. So we got these little hookup pieces right here, so we'll go ahead and pull these out. These are just the tabs to index the lines. So this is an 18mm on the back of the knuckle, and I did have to put some PB Blaster on it and use a pretty damn big breaker bar because mine seemed to be a little bit rusted on there. Even the wheel was a little bit rusted on here. This part is just didn't get driven that much. Okay, red thread locker, that is why. So yeah, you're gonna want to put new red thread locker on when you install the new ones. All right, so that proved to be a little difficult to take out those bolts because of the Loctite, but whatever. So now I think I may have to disconnect the sway bar. I'm not 100% sure on that. I think I might be able to pull this out though. Oh, we'll disconnect the sway bar at the bottom here, and then that'll free us up. It was actually a 16mm. Now I gotta just disconnect this from the body of the knuckle here. Make sure all these hoses are out of the way. Just try not to break this ABS line, and I'll pull this out. Okay, so stock strut. Look at that big ass freaking spring. Grab this boy. Okay, as you can see, this one's on the opposite side, so I think that's passenger there. And this one has all the stuff on the same side, so this is for the passenger side here. Now on this one, you will see provisions here. That is actually for sway bar mounting. So I don't know what year, I think it's M3 style. The sway bar actually mounts right here on the strut itself instead of on the control arm. So that's just kind of a different thing. Your car may have that, may not. And then again, got those line hookups. Got this one here, bit of porosity right there. Looks like they may have ran out of some welding gas, but the other stuff looks well and penetrated. So yeah, let's go ahead and install this thing, and then we'll kind of figure out ride height after that. First thing you want to note too is the orientation camber plates up here. So you want them facing inward towards the strut towers, so like this, so that you can kick the camber in. Camber is like this, so it moves the wheel inward, and I'll probably just dump this to whatever it's at, like 3 degrees max or whatever this thing will do. So let's get that done. We'll unbolt these and put it up in there. So I got those 3 13mm bolted down. Now you can see this is the camber plates. So see how the orientation is right here. It is cool that they do come with camber plates. I'm gonna go ahead and loosen up these screws. There's actually different holes in here. We got to get them a little closer, and then we can dump this in, get some camber out of it to get better cornering performance. So these are just 5mm Allens. I will say the bolts, or the bolts on the struts they're kind of tall. They really don't need to be that tall. I guess that's sort of good. I mean, for like if you have a strut brace, which maybe I'll add one, I don't know, maybe I'll get like a Garagistic one or something, put it on here, maybe it'll handle a little bit better, stiffen up the chassis. You definitely can use it on a convertible, obviously. Convertibles are not the stiffest chassis, that's for sure. This isn't like a race car or anything. This is just literally you know, getting a better daily setup, if you will. So now what I want to do is not drop any of these screws, and then you can see there's different holes in there. So now I got those kind of loose, and then I can dump in all of the camber. I'm just gonna dump it all the way into there, and then I'll put my other screw right here. As you can see, that's the only hole kind of left, and we'll get all of the camber as far as these camber plates go, which, you know, will hopefully make this car turn in a lot better and that sort of thing. And we will need to get an alignment on this vehicle once this stuff is all dialed in, but I may be changing out a couple more suspension components too. Oh, I do even have some camber arms for the rear, some adjustable ones, so that I can dial the camber in a little bit better. So boom, there we go. Kind of torque these down pretty good, make sure they don't get stripped out, as it really is holding on the whole strut. When you think about it, these bolts kind of do a lot, so make sure those are nice and tight and they're not going to go anywhere. All right, so now that I got that tied up there, this looks really good. We'll go ahead and check the preload. This is obviously the ride height as well, so when you spin the whole strut, that is going to make the car go up or down. Not sure where this is going to sit, so pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this whole situation loose on this bottom collar at first, and I'll set the car down, kind of figure out the ride height and see what I got to do as far as adjustment. I don't want the car super slammed in the front. I want it to kind of just go with that rear, because it was kind of slammed in the rear. So I don't know, I'm thinking like, you know, two finger gap or something like that will probably be a good ride height for this thing with the 17-inch wheels on it. So also there's that little piece that transfers over. See, that's super cool. So I can get the lines on there, and then these lines will all hook up. Oh, also, you probably don't want to do this super stretchiness to the brake line, but oops, I forgot. All right, so we got the 18mm, the one that goes through right here. Then we got two right down here. There is like a little locating tab right down there that goes in the middle, so that's cool. I did actually disconnect it from the top, so I'm gonna do that last. I will install them up there. That way, you know, you get the proper clearance. Also, when you're like sway bars hooked up, it kind of interferes with some things if you don't have both wheels off the ground. All right, so I went ahead and lifted that up. Now I do need to get my I do need to get my strut, my sway bar still connected, so I'll have to do that after the fact, I guess. This sway bar connector, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect it right here and then put it in through the bottom and then hook that back up. Guys, so now I got this thing up in the air. We'll go ahead and put the wheel on, and then a couple wheel bolts, and then lower it down and kind of see where it's sitting. The car will settle a little bit as well, but if I like the ride height, I'll kind of mark this and try to do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so right now it doesn't actually look too awful bad as far as just totally drooped out. So we'll see what it looks like when it's compressed. I know it'll go down a little bit. Let's see how this looks. Okay, I'll probably lower it a little bit more than that. That's a good 3 fingers, so we'll put it a little bit lower. So looking at the other side, this is actually kind of higher than stock ride height right now, so I'll go ahead and lower it down a little bit. I mean, my old springs may be sagging just a bit, but yeah, we'll go ahead and lower the car a little bit more. I want to probably get about a maybe like a 1 to 2 finger gap in there, maybe 1.5, and I think that'll be good. So it does come with these spanner wrenches with the MaXpeedingRods, which I guess is supposed to mean like max speeding or something, but this one, so you got a double right here, so you kind of double nut this one up. Basically, 0 preload just means that the spring itself is not loose, so we'll just get it down to that and then good to go. So you can get pretty fancy with like measuring all this stuff and everything, but what I like to do is get the preload set, and then I like to kind of get a ride height that I think is going to be good. I'll cut a piece of cardboard, kind of get the idea of the threads there, and that'll usually be close enough. You know, we're not corner balancing the car. This is not really a performance setup here. This is just kind of like a street setup that's hopefully going to be better than the blown out OE struts. So I don't know, I'm excited to give it a road test and that sort of thing. Let's put the tire on here and see how this side looks. And then I'm not gonna film the other side because it's the same thing. It's, you know, not that exciting. Couple bolts, basically 3 bolts at the bottom, 2 hoses, 3 bolts up top. Pretty dang easy for the front coilovers or front struts on these cars. If you don't have rusted bolts, they'll come off a hell of a lot faster. I bet you could do it in about 15 minutes or so. All right, so second time, let's see how it looks. Yeah, I'm more happy with that. It's a little over 2 fingers right there. That looks pretty good. Camber's dumped in a little bit too, so it's actually kind of lower than it was before with the camber and all that. And let's bounce on it a little bit. If I get some like spacers on there too, some wheel spacers would look pretty nice. Yeah, I think that's pretty good for now. If I want to change it up later, I will, but yeah, I think that looks good. So that pretty much completes that install. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side. I made sure you guys the struts for the back, but like I said, I don't think I'm gonna use the springs. I might use these. I don't even know if I can because of the height. Well, anyways, I'll probably see, because yeah, like I said, the convertible, it's already pretty slammed in the rear. As far as this goes, I mean, you can see it's already tucking quite a bit, and I think that this looks pretty good here. It's pretty level and all that, and you got extra weight with the convertible, so I'm just gonna keep those springs in it for now. All right guys, so it's settled down a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and take a drive in this thing because I did end up doing both sides. That side's a little dented. This fender still needs to be replaced. That's one part I'm looking for. So if you guys have a black late model fender, I think we'll adjust the damping real quick. We'll click it all the way back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll go 10 clicks on this. Boop. And then I'll put this little guy back on there, keep it clean. Looking good. So that pretty much buttons up the front coilover install. Let's go take it on a test drive. All right guys, getting my first impressions of the coilovers. So I'm gonna let the car warm up real quick and I'll take it for a drive around the block, see how it works, see how I like the new suspension. I have a feeling it is going to be a lot more level and planted, so that'll be good. Definitely a lot firmer. Not sure if it's going to be too firm of a ride, but it'll be better than stock, that's for sure. Well, let's try this out, see how it works. Some junk in the trunk, but first impressions of just kind of driving around the block, it feels pretty dang good. It's not too shabby. Steering on this car could definitely be a little quicker. Does help with turning quite a bit though, with that extra little bit of camber there. So as far as staying level, it's cool. Getting a little bit of noise. I don't know what that's all about. There are like maybe some loose fender liners and stuff on my car, so I don't know if it's scraping or what. Maybe I'm hitting some fender liner there. But wow, that feels like a lot better. So if you have blown out OE suspension, I'd recommend these. For now, I'm gonna keep driving on them. I'll probably give you guys a later on review, but overall they roll, they're on there. They're definitely a lot firmer than stock, and they seem to be doing things. See this? Car's staying kind of level, which is nice. Take a corner, turns in, does its things. It feels a lot better. Before it rolled so freaking much. So awesome. Thanks for watching guys. We'll talk to you soon. Later, and wrench on.